from the top. Oh no, no, he won't stop. Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Thalmor Radio.
Thalmor Radio.
What's happening? What's up? What's going on? He is recording. He confirmed that a couple minutes when you were deafened for whatever reason. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Thalmor. I'm going to tell you what the news is and what's good and what's bad. And what's good was Tuesday, because Tuesday we had a bonus show in which we discussed the Holly Rose thing. Had like 6 people on, all big names. That was great. Go check it out. It's on YouTube. Hour and a half show. It was really good. And that's basically it about that. There's not a lot, like, the Holly Rose thing has been done to death, and by people better than me. So I don't know how much I can contribute. Kegals did post a thing I want to go over, but like I don't have anything else really new to add besides what I'm going to talk about with that. There's no wars going on. Clock and Backrooms are still fighting, and I don't think anything has really happened since then. So let's get into the minor topic first, which is Andromeda block piece is now dead. What? Is this one of those threads that goes up minutes before the show? I miss it. Oh, nope. Okay. Oh, I missed this completely. Wow. For time's sake. Oh, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. The clock block has agreed to white peace with the 4 members of the Andromeda block was a thing? I didn't know that was a block. Both parties recognize the good fight and acknowledge a more mutually beneficial path going forward. Terms: no new wars will be prepared to be declared between the parties. Any current ongoing wars will be permanent to end in whatever fashion the attacker didn't wish to pursue. The white piece has been discussed, acknowledged, and agreed upon. We now have a little signature. Our Clock now has a signature. I forgot, guys. Hand of Fate is not part of Clock. I agree, Vice. Who is Andromeda? The Hive. It was the Hive and the Unforgiven Legion, apparently. Was Andromeda under the Backrooms? Why was the Clock even fighting them? Why do they interact? I'm baffled and confused here.
They were tied in.
Got
there
it.
was
All right. Well,
there was a
go.
couple of ties. I think Gato was tied into the Backrooms, and Hive had something, but it wasn't like a complete tie. So they were part of the sphere, but not part of the block, I think.
Got it. All right. Well, that's that, I guess. I have no opinion. Except I don't think the war is going good for Backrooms on multiple fronts. One of those including a member alliance, Order of the White Rose, committed mass suicide, and that thread announcing their departure went up today. And so I'm going to discuss it. And I have waited until a good time has occurred for me to go into my thoughts and feelings on the matter. And I think now is a good time, because Zval, Civil, SVAL, Sval. He announced that they are leaving the game. It's over. The White Rose is withered, ladies and gentlemen. Mick Pussy. And so what happened was the current quote-unquote leader of Order of the White Rose, a guy whose name I cannot pronounce or remember, but it's long and confusing. On page 2 of the thread, he goes more into like why they disbanded and why people who laugh at it are cringe or whatever. I don't know if I'll read it, but I might skim over some of the points made in it. Yeah, because it's a wall of text here. Actually, I think I will read it. So, Order of the White Rose's disbandment has as much to do with losing the war as the flavor of Cinnamon Toast Crunch has on whether or not I wear fishnet stockings to bed. We had some great times trying our best to ignore this game's toxicity, but ultimately we'd be better off as a community ourselves without this game constantly throwing wrenches in our attempts to mind our own business. We've played this game for many years, and we pushed through far worse endgame situations than this. Whether you liked us or not, a well-adjusted individual would be able to appreciate this isn't just a random alliance disbanding after its first war. A large number of members already quit the game entirely. Most likely a few more will as well over the coming weeks. To all the people saying crap like quote-unquote good, you're part of the problem. People mass quitting the game should never be a positive thing to the people playing that game. Diversity and ethos is what makes games like this work. Without it, you're just playing with the same awful war system over and over, watching numbers go up and down. This game isn't special. All the best parts of it happen outside the game between people that play it. It's a vehicle for personal interaction and the construction of stories, and it can fulfill that role very well when people respect the fact that behind the facade is a group of actual human beings which have understandably developed a strong connection with each other and with the concept of their alliance over the many years it existed. We've seen kids go from school to university to owning their own houses within the lifespan of OWR. We've had people get married, have children, have their lives fall apart, and rebuild them again within the lifespan of our alliance. And OWR was a rock through all of it because no matter how the real world treated you, you could log in Discord, in the game, and you'd be amongst friends, regardless of who thinks about us, how we conduct ourselves, or how we played the game. Anyone who doesn't see the tragedy in the loss of this is a psychopath. So, nothing about that was compelling to me. I'm still kind of laughing at them because what happened was the CB for the war from Clock Against the Backrooms was the Backroom loosely plotted with Hollywood to hit Clock. Hollywood broke the news to Clock hit the Backrooms. Or the White Rose, from my understanding, mass VM'd because they refused to fight it because number one, they were already done with the game, and number two, they didn't feel like this was their war to fight. And like Ben fucking hell. Ben again, friend. One of the first lines of the paragraph is we've had some great times trying our best to ignore this game's toxicity. The people who whine about it's toxic. Toxicity. The game's not that bad. Like, I think during MPO's last time it got kind of bad, but like the normal game for the most part isn't like what's toxic. What is this guy even referring to? What toxicity was Or the White Rose a victim to? Does anybody know? Is David around here? David's friendly with him. He could tell me. What was it? What's toxic? What toxic behavior is driving the White Roses away? I don't really know what. Like being shitty in recent history and being called on it. Are you referring to Or the White Rose being shitty and being called out on it? Because I don't know. Like this is to an extent, this is a game of politics. You're going to have things happen. Okay, apparently what Vass is saying is this is in response to Or the White Rose getting some pushback for something. Like, I don't know. I think it's loser to cry about toxicity. Like, I know who was that guy with the crab profile picture that got driven away because people were like doxing him and stuff. It was Zoidberg from Futurama. Who was that guy? He was dressed up fancy. What was his name? He said he left because people were like, Alan. I think Gilio. Not Latsu. Gilio. Gilio, it made sense for him to leave because people were getting very out of character, doxing him, like calling family members. They were really after him. He has a valid reason to bitch about. I say bitch. I retract that. To complain about toxicity because that was all bullshit. That's all bad. I wish the people responsible got skewered for it. I don't see why all the white did Sval get doxxed? Did all the White Rose people get doxxed? Like, I don't think so. If they did, I haven't heard about it, and I think I would because that kind of stuff makes waves. So I think they're just being whiny. And you know, this war happens with clocking the back rooms. They have a good enough CB. And they mass VM. Like, that's just bitch made. That's just bitch made. Go out in a blaze of glory. Dump the bank, dump the war chests, and just, like, if you want to be really base, take out a loan, the biggest loan you can, and use it to buy war chest material, and just go out in a blaze of glory. Fucking suicide into clock, suicide into the pirates who have bothered you, suicide into people you don't like, nuke rogue, have a blast, have some fun. Instead, they leave their allies to have to defend themselves. Like, I'm not saying it's good that all the White Rose is gone. Okay, I hope their community, it sounds like their community is going to stick around. They're just leaving the game. I hope they have a good time no matter what they do. If they sit in a Discord, sit in a forum, if they move to another game, if they just play Among Us every once in a while and Fortnite. Like, I hope they have fun and can enjoy each other's company. And I hope the connections they've made last forever. But I'm still laughing at them because they're being bitches. Like, I don't know. I didn't say anything in the thread because I read the room and I didn't think it would be good to, but I'm saying it here. I think I don't know. I just find it contemptible how they manage this. They should have. I don't know. They could have done it better and more respectively, and they didn't. And like, what is their legacy, anyways? Like, they were a good lapdog to the syndicate, and all that got them after years of loyalty was they just got dropped for Rose. Like, okay, well, so I hope all the White Rose people, I hope they can stick together and can remain friends and whatnot. But I'm laughing at them, and they could have handled this exit way better than what they did in a lot more of a fun way. But instead, they're just sulking and being losers and whatever. What's my opinion? I mean, there are some cool people in All the White Rose. I do wish it is differently, though. I mean, that's reasonable. Everyone just like on your way out. Exactly. You know, they could have nuked. They could have spent like 3 months stockpiling nukes and missiles and just did all sorts of damage. They could have fucking thrashed Clock because they have nothing to lose. They're quitting anyways, and they just didn't. I don't want to not say anything, but it's hard to talk about shit going back to that war people never stop mentioning. Like, I understand people. Like, it's annoying to keep bringing up MPO's last time, but like, it was one of the most pivotal things in the game's history. So if you have a reason to bring it up, then bring it up, Kiwi. It's okay. It's okay. It's like, there's a reason why people keep bringing it up. It's because it's continuously relevant. Bisley says, to be fair, ODR did have my favorite FA response I ever got. Remember this, Hazelnut. The friendship offered, although at base value appears nice, is unsolicited, unbeneficial, and with many hidden strings attached. Through the discussion in this channel, evidence was shown for emotional instability with a distinct lack of scruples and critical thinking ability with a friend, and eventually to be ally as an things. This is considered an extreme liability. TLDR, no. That is funny. I like that. That is decent. One day I wish we could move on from emails last time. Will probably never happen. I mean, look, like, if you got a reason to bring it up, bring it up. So, like, I hate it when people compare. I hate NPO or Inquisition comparisons. I do think now is the best time to make them with Holly Rose, but like I think it makes sense to now more than ever. Um, David says Bendy has always held that opinion. He built ludicrous amounts of infra and VMP so hard with foul moving he was left in charge. Okay, got it. So probably not the best representation, but it is what it is. I thought Bendy did VM. Yeah, comparing MPOs now, one of those mistakes MPOs last time was good. Yeah. So there you go. And what's he referring to when he says that like people keep throwing a wrench in our plans? But ultimately, we'd be better off as community ourselves without this game constantly throwing wrenches in our attempts to mind our own business. Like, I don't know. But anyways, that's that. I think that's it for that. For this one, he stuck around to find his liquidate the organization. That's nice. That's nice. And like a bunch of them might be going away, but like some of the LWR people I think might be sticking around. I hope they go to a good home. Dead air. All right. I guess it's gonna be a huge separation for those who stay. I guess that there's gonna be a huge separation. What do you mean exactly by huge separation? Like I imagine there'll be other people aren't going to care if they go to like Carthago or something. That's reasonable, or they go elsewhere. Maybe of them join the Legion. That's fine. I think the Legion's a pretty decent alliance. This is a base game. Universe Sandbox does seem pretty cool. I couldn't get into it because I was too young when I played it, but Slinging Meteors and then playing is pretty cool. Like to join Legion. That's fine. All right. So Darth Try says you're not going to talk about the Rose Hollywood Treaty. I already did. I did Tuesday, and I will now a little bit more because of Kigos's response. But I've already said everything I kind of want to say about it elsewhere. But once again, I get up. I get up and I walk to my house. I say hi to my pretty kitties. I sit on my computer and I see I have a DM. And I open the DM and it's Kills. And Kills says, you should read this. And I say, okay, Kills. And I read it. And I thank Kills because he always, anytime there's hot news, he just drops it right on my lap. Just drops the hot gauze right in front of me. And I thank Kills for that. Thank you, Kills. But basically, Kigos made a thread responding to the Holly Rose Treaty, and it's up to 4 pages now, almost 5. Goodness gracious! Let me see. Did anyone say anything in it? I've been following it closely. Let me see. Did anyone say anything in it that I need to read before? Okay, nothing. Okay, so I'm not going to read what Kigos said. I will post a link to the thread in the chat for those who do want to read it. But Kigos said things that I already knew, but that I had trouble putting into words, which is that the biggest thing is that Holly Rose, Celestia, and Hollywood are not like victims of circumstance. They, for many years, have built up their blocks and their spears as they wanted. And so they have even less room to consolidate like this and then cry out as they do so. Because there's a lot of things that are problematic about the move, such as, for example, the tough talk Morph was doing. The Syndicate was against Mystery Oasis. Now they're doing the same thing here, just months later. A big one in my mind, and it kind of ties into the other one that I'm about to say, is that like this is really strong defensive power, but it can just like flipping a switch, it can very easily turn into offensive power. And considering like the tiering advantage, that's really bad for everyone. But also, there's nothing that stops this from happening in the future. Like I've seen people, like I've asked, other people have asked it. What stops this? What stops 5 months from now? 5 months from now, it's October. What stops this from happening again? If clock wakes up. Okay, what time is it? It's time to kill. So they attack the Johnsons because fucking Kev made a bowl of cereal and it tasted bad. So they attack Kev and they attack the Johnsons. And what stops Celestial and Hollywood from signing another demilitarization MDP? And I don't see, like, the only answer I see is, well, it won't happen, which is not an answer. I saw Ellen Goodend, he said, he's a member of one of those two blogs. He said, actually, nothing stops. It could happen. And, like, I don't see it. Nothing stops them doing this again. If they woke up, like, they could wake up tomorrow, Saturday, Morph and Vex and Wana and other decision makers within these blocks, they could wake up tomorrow and chat and just say, you know what? For the security of our alliances and the best interest of economic growth, we are rescinding Article 4. And we are now, our two blocks are permanently tiered. And if you don't like it, suck our dick, go fuck yourself, delete your nation, we win. Nothing stops them from doing it. They're already like one step away from doing it anyways. And, you know, people voice their objections and they're like, bro, this is cringe. And they're like, haha, cry harder, clock has been cucked. Yeah. And it's like, okay, motherfucker, you know, and I hope you enjoy it when you grow yourself to City 60 and then you just can't do anything ever again because you've grown yourself outside the range of like 95% of the rest of the game. But there you go. You sound a bit worried, Val. Well, yes, Hillbilly, I am kind of concerned that the two strongest blocks in the game are like allied to each other. That's pretty bad. Seems kind of seethe and cope, Thalmor. Yeah, it actually is a little seethe and cope. Like, I understand that like the cool meta move when someone does something you're like is like, yeah, it doesn't bother me, right? But it's like, I actually kind of am seething and coping some. I actually kind of am. Like, this is pretty shitty. Might be the new bad guys we wanted. I really hate it. I really hate Inquisition comparisons because they're kind of cringe. And, like, Inquisition had a very radical mindset. But, like, yeah, I mean, there is a parallel to be made, and I don't think it's completely unreasonable. But I'm not going to go down that path fully because, like, even in the worst case scenario, I still think Celestial and Hollywood, the decision makers, are a lot more reasonable and ethical than what, like, Hollywood and Celestial at their worst is still probably better than like Inquisition was. So I'm not going to go the full way there, but it is pretty cringe. Hazel says, I think I got the response by one of them do something about it. I have seen that, and it's very frustrating. You know, and they're open about it. They're like, yes, we have positioned ourselves to to be so strong that's not competitive. If you don't like it, well, you can hit us. And it's like, okay, motherfucker. Like, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Toxic says, cries about always find the same enemy over and over. Build spirits they only compete with each other. Once the FK farm to 60. And that's the thing. Like, well, we look, like, what's going to happen when Grumpy and like the top Rose people are at City 60 and everyone else is at like City 40 and below? Like, oh, you're tired of the same war? Well, guess what? Your only war options are going to be at that point. And I think they are. I think they're too short-sighted to really think about that, or they just don't care. How many people can even reach C60 in the next 2 years? I say some can in 2 to 3 years. It's like this is a long ways out, but it's where the direction is going right now. I am far behind in chat, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't IQ. This is Oculus from seeing. It's unbeatable. All the books combined, all I could lose against them. So I'm going to give the actual Milcom analysis of this here, and I'm not a Milcom person, but been around for a while. In all honesty, I do think if you picked any 3 random blocks, so you got Clock, you got Johnson's, you got Haunted Mansion, and you got the back rooms. If you pick any 3 of them or all of them, better if you have all of them, but any 3 of them, and they all went to war against Hollywood, they possibly could win, especially if you get all 4 of them. But I think at a minimum, you would need 3 of them. And what you would have to do is, and I don't have the number chart. I posted it Tuesday. I don't have it now. But the whole rest of the game, actually by a decent margin, does outnumber Hollywood Celestial. Thank you, Lysander. They actually do outnumber them by a good margin at City 30 and below. And so all you would really have, like, you would have the upper, like, the anti Holly Rose coalition at City 31 and above would be fucked, and they would down declare, but like that avalanche will only go so far, and I think it is totally possible for the rest of the game to just sit on Hollywood Celestial, and you would just do that for however, like, you would just do that. You would just sit on them until they, like, one of 2 things would happen. Either the leadership of Hollywood Celestial would come for peace, or, like, their members would just quit and go inactive because it's very boring to be sat on like that. And then eventually the leadership would see the damage done to the community, and then they would, like, go come to the, like, it is totally possible to win, but it would be very nasty, and it would be drawn out, and it would be long, and it would be boring, and it would be similar to NBL's last time, I think. So that's how it would be. So I do think it's competitive if you could rally the whole game against Hollywood Celestial. But it would be a nasty fight. And like even if you won the war, what happens? Like, you wipe peace out, like nothing really changes. You'd have to like impose terms and like impose terms to hurt them. But I don't know. So it would be pretty ridiculous. But I mean, like, Hollywood and Rose, I mean, they are setting themselves up for like an epic confrontation if they keep, like, because again, what stops them happening in the future? What stops them happening in the future? So Sorry, I'm quiet. I'm blowing my nose. I'm happy for the warmer weather, but my allergies are not. So, let's see. In that thread, in Kigos's thread, Wana said that Kigos, you're ruining you're ruining your reputation. That's not happening. If anything, I think it's Wana's reputation. I think Wana already had a bad reputation because, like, I don't know. IQ had done within 4 months his review of Sheila Expense. That is what happened. Why is Grave and Slywolf arguing with each other? Hold on. I don't know why they're arguing. Honestly, it's like they'll keep pushing the game around to someone to do something but in a meaningful way in the game. But it's me personally. I don't agree about that. Like, I think there's a lot of power in like individuals in both blocks, like speaking out and like protesting, especially in Hollywood, because there's a lot of people in Hollywood who are like, "This is bullshit." Fucking like, but I don't know. I mean, like Shiho and Borhan are two people. They were Upper Guth and the Golden Horde 4 years ago, and they were like the pioneers of changing the meta closely to what we have now. And they're both like, yeah, actually, this mega block is fine. It's really good. The Celestial and Hollywood allies. It's like, what the fuck? Like 4 years ago, you'd have the exact opposite opinion. But now, because now you're in them. Now you like switch sides, and that's very frustrating. Vemek. There was an argument in Ron earlier today where like the syndicate people were arguing that actually Clock is no better in response to Kigos's thread. And Vemek was arguing that Clock was like bad. But Vemek defended himself by saying, "Oh, well, actually, I haven't argued in favor of the Hollywood Celestial Treaty." And I was like, motherfucker, you basically are like whatever. What? I don't know what Grave is saying either. It's almost like it's being done to Clock. What? And I said it earlier. I'll say it again. Like, I do think if the whole game rallied to fight Hollywood Celestial, I think that's a winning war. It's just going to be nasty and long and boring and shitty and toxic. A united response to something seen as unfair. What? Word chaining. Word chaining is based. What's Prefontaine saying? I agree. We should be defending this action. Frankly, this your treatment of T as a Christian. Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like Prefontaine, or not Prefontaine, Partisan. Fucking what's his name? Emir Bargo. Like they like I keep seeing people say, "Yeah, fuck Rose," and they're like, "Actually, but we're keeping allies to them." And it's like, okay, whatever. Grave is saying there's a united response against Cluck arguing against the treaty. Yeah, from within Hollywood Celestial, but that's expected. No different than making a surrender than attacking right after, my opinion, which is the gist of my point here. Grave, I'm not fully paying full attention either because I'm doing the show, but like I don't understand and I understand how any of your points come together. Like, type a paragraph summarizing what you're saying so I can read it. Thank you, Grave. Do I want to go here? I think I do, because you only live once, and I think it's an interesting conversation. So, who wants to enlist in the army to fight Hollywood Celestial? Because, like, personally, this is Thalmor. This is me personally. I do not speak for Hand of Fate. I do not speak for Clock. I am totally down for the whole game coming together to fight Hollywood Celestial. It's a fight that can totally be won. It's a fight that I think could be fun. It might eventually get really shitty, but it could be fun. I see nothing but everyone being on board. I think it'd be fun because this is an angle I haven't spoken about. A real global war. Yes, this would be the war to end all wars. Again, literally the whole game versus the other side of the game. I'm surprised everyone's on board. You guys need to talk to your leaders then. Talk to your leaders, unless you're already a leader, in which case, talk to your allies. Because this is an angle I haven't spoken about. Let me bring it up. The treaty between Hollywood and Celestial, Keegaw said it, I said it first, we both independently came to the same conclusion. This is a pixel-hugging move. There is no will in the leadership of Hollywood and Celestial to fight. They don't want to fight. Maybe the members do, especially in Hollywood, but the leaders do not. We know for a fact that Celestial can't fucking fight. The Syndicate, fucking VM, deleted military, they ran for the hills. They ran for the hills quicker than Or the White Rose did. Rose is might be willing to fight, but they fucking suck at it. ASM, fucking garbage. R&R, fucking garbage. Like, a lot of them can't fight. Hollywood is the only real threat. And you know what? The whole rest of the game, they have some killers too. Clock, full of killers. Hand of Fate, every single one of us are just completely psychotic. Like Bendy said, if you're a sociopath, if you are laughing at OWR, he doesn't know what a sociopath is. Walk through the gates of Hand of Fate, you'll see some psychopaths. You have some other neutral people like Kev coming in, the Finding Pacifists coming in, fucking Epi and Camelot, they would join on our side. Camelot's coming through on horseback, riding from the castles. It could be a real fight. So I'm just throwing it out there, and like from what I see in the chat here, everyone on here is ready. Like everyone on here wants to fight them. So like, I know listeners listen to this. Like leaders of Orbis, especially outside Celestial and Hollywood, like the momentum is on your side right now. Okay? Everyone thinks this is bullshit. Everyone's willing to go. Everyone's willing to fight. Okay? I'm willing to not everyone who listens to this show is a psychopath like me. Like there are normal people listening to this in the chat saying how they're willing to fight. And you know what? Celestial and Hollywood, they don't want to fight. Half the game wants to fight and wants blood. The other half does not. And guess what, leaders of the community? Your side is on the side that wants blood. You have the initiative. You have the initiative. Take it. Teach Hollywood and Celestial that this was a shitty fucking move and that it should never be repeated. That's what I'm seeing here. So there you go. And I'm not William Wallace, guys. I'm sorry. I think some people do want to see me rally people together. I'm not doing that. I will preach on my show and I will spread the propaganda, but I cannot message the people. I cannot message the individuals that are needed to make this happen. but the connections are already there. Someone else has to step up to actually like go from A to B. But what I'm seeing here, people want war. People want to fight. Johnson's, Haunted Mansion, Backrooms, Clock. You guys need to come together and make this happen because it's fun. What about Hand of Fate? I don't know what our leaders want. Bring them in. I can definitely bring it up. So that's what I'm saying. I am waving. Who all is here? Who all here is part of Alliance Gov? I think a lot of you are. Make this happen. Make this happen. Rally the coalition. Let's do a real fucking global. Oh, Clock is fighting the Backrooms. It's a global. Oh, the Micro's fighting Camelot. It's a global. Papers, Please was a global. Or maybe it's not a global. Who knows what a global is? Fucking half the game. Every block fighting another block. That's a global, ladies and gentlemen. And we can see it happen very soon, hopefully. So there you go. Elegos, as a member of Hollywood, I support Thalmor's position. There are tons of Hollywood people who don't like this. I was watching Hotcakes with Morph and Kev, and I agree with him. It's like Kev was like, I understand Celestial doing this. I don't get Hollywood doing this because Hollywood is full of fighters. Hollywood is full of like people who know how to swing a sword, and it made no sense for them to do this. And I agree. I don't understand, and that's what like everyone that I see from within those two blocks protesting this or voicing some opposition, it's been from Hollywood. I've seen no one in Celestial protesting, which I find interesting. So I don't know what kind of Kool-Aid they got in Celestial. Must be the heavenly kind, pun intended. But there you go. I will admit that the roast side of Celestial has been hella quiet. It has been. Okay, so I've said my piece, ladies and gentlemen, but here's the question. Do you think Holly Rose will suck in Milcom because Tiaz knows Milcom bad, or because Econ Milcom can? I think Celestials, I think if you had a what should we call this hypothetical war, ladies and gentlemen? What should we call it? I'm going to say Omega. That's the placeholder name. I'm going to say Clockamole. That's funny. I like that actually. But I'm going to stick to Omega. Omega is a placeholder name. In this hypothetical Omega war, I think Celestial side would perform poorly, and I think they could be knocked out easily and set on easily. I think I think Hollywood side would be the biggest trouble because they can fight, they know how to fight. I think they probably, well, I was going to say they have the most willingness to fight, but I don't know because, again, a lot of their members are protesting the move. So I don't know. But I don't think Celestial's a big deal. I think they're incompetent from the leadership to the members. They have some good Milcom, they have some good members, but as a whole, it's worse than it really should be for an alliance of their age and size. Hollywood would be the problem. TKR, everyone in TKR, I would have compared TKR to like a Napoleonic line infantry. They look good. They march in a great straight line. You know, someone beats on the drums to tell them what to do. They do it. TKR, they're really good. You have the epic strength from Grumpy and Guardian because they're big and they know how to swing it around. Hollywood's the problem. Celestial, not so much. Celestial has numbers and wealth, but not much else, I don't think. I think it's winnable. You use your numbers. They're outside of Hollywood and Celestial. You do have some great Milcom people, and I think numbers wins out. I think numbers does win out. And all you gotta do is just, City 30 and below. City 30 and below. Yes, Hollywood and Celestial could dominate City 31 and up. But City 30 and below goes to everyone else, basically. Eligo says it's especially winnable if you do the very thing they're begging not to happen and you chain them. Yes! I said it earlier and I will repeat it one more time. The Hollywood Celestial Treaty is signaling weakness. It is signaling loud and proud. We do not want to fight. Therefore, take the initiative and make them fight. Make them do the thing they don't want to do. So there you go. Jeb, after the war, we would enter an extreme recession caused by radiation. We don't have food. That is totally possible. We might be at 100% negative food production for like months and months and months. Totally possible. And that's really funny. And the newbies are all going to be really scared, and that's really funny. So there you go. So I'm happy I could bring this up and talk about it. But guys, look, I can promote the idea of the Omega War, but I can't cause it to happen. Okay? I am not willing. I will use my microphone. I will use my microphone to spread violence, but I cannot be the kindling. You guys have to talk to your leaders and tell them we want blood. Talk to your alliance mates, get like a couple of you together, and then go up to your leader and be like, we want blood. Okay? If you're an alliance gov or an alliance leader, talk to your fellow gov, talk to the gov of your allies, and say, we want blood. Because I can make this happen. Only you guys can make this happen. I can promote it. Okay? I've done a big part just throwing the idea out there on this platform of an Omega War should probably happen. No. The Omega War should happen, ladies and gentlemen. Hollywood and Celestial need to be taught a lesson. Because this cannot happen. Those motherfucking whales, those City 30 and 40 people, they're probably going to grow to be City 60, but let's delay them by a little bit. Let's give them one really good parting kiss on their way to the top. Because they are a part of this community, ladies and gentlemen. And they think they're putting a good wall up by signing each other, stopping us from getting to them. No, motherfucker, it's their backs who are against the wall. There you go. We're all, I know. I saw, when I checked earlier to see who was listing the alliance leaders, I saw Weisel. Like, fucking, I'm sure Weisel is in Microsoft Word or Notepad writing all this down. Fucking, guys, we have a problem. Something's happening. Hi, Weisel. Hope you're well. It's funny. So, there you go. What happened to Johnson? I thought they were the big bad wolf. Well, if the full might of the Johnsons helps, then victory is certainly in the bag then. There we go. We must make a huge conspiracy so that missiles are obligatory and nukes recommended. Well, that'll happen anyways. Uh-oh. Pim Pico just got espionage. It's over. All right, so that's my opinion. Hollywood could be based on Tron and Rose, and I said it, a couple weeks ago. I'll say it again. Hollywood hitting Rose being Hollywood would have been really cool. Would have been beautiful. Would have been just a state of nature, just the natural progression of things. Just how as a man looks upon a woman and falls in love with her, and she looks upon him and falls in love with him. And she plays with her hair and giggles at every joke he makes. And they get married and they have children. Just as natural as that is, it would have been natural for Rose and Hollywood to tag each other. Would have been just as beautiful. Would have just been as natural as the sky is blue. But it didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. No, instead, perversion happened. The unnatural happened. They allied each other, ladies and gentlemen. That is not a sight from heaven. A man and a woman in love, forming a family. That is just proof of God's love, ladies and gentlemen. Proof that God has an interest in our day-to-day life. But no, ladies and gentlemen, the Hollywood Celestial Treaty, that is an act of the devil. That is an act of Satan. It's rough out there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I think that's about it. I think I beat the war drum there enough. Omega War, make it happen. I think that's it. Gosh, I thought it was going to be a short show, but I went almost an hour. Final call, politics and war, endless topics I need to go over, or am I ready to move on to the dumb real life stuff that only about 2/3 of you care about? Actually, I don't think I will talk about it. Actually, yeah, I will a little bit. Hand of Fate is for hire. Hit me up for suicide runs. JK, not JK. No one's typing. So I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to move on to real life topics. If you're not interested in those, thank you for coming out tonight. I will see you next Friday. Have a good one. Let's make the Omega War happen. Now then, for the rest of you, and those who stay for the real life stuff, you guys really benefit because number one, you get to hear the Thalmor Radio theme again, and number two, you get me to say goodnight to you. So really, you should stick around if you don't. But I digress. There's only one thing I want to talk about because of all the news stories that's happened, it's the one that causes the most emotional trauma in me. And that is I'm not even gonna I would try to pronounce it, but I know it's not gonna go well. They'll get taken down. Well, that's okay. What we'll do instead is, you know what? We'll go off the record. Kills Bob, play the theme, and then end the recording when the theme is done, and then I will pick up this part of the show after that. So this will be off the record, ladies and gentlemen. We're going really crazy now. Yeah. So let's on paper officially end the show, and I'll see you guys in a minute.
Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thalmor Radio. Yeah, he's coming at you from the top. Oh no, no, he won't stop. Thalmor Radio. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Thalmor Radio.
Thalmor Radio.
Hold on, I'm looking at